It looks like politicians are going after visitors to their cities once again. This time it's Governor Charlie Baker of Massachusetts, and while we're at it, let's throw in the mix Lori Lightfoot, Mayor of Chicago. Let's talk about it. Welcome everyone, Mark here from Mark's Travel Time. If you're new to the channel, please consider clicking on my face there to subscribe, and if you do, don't forget to click that bell icon up above so you know when I post new videos. I'll tell you what, these politicians are starting to get under my skin. They are looking at rideshare as a cash cow, and what that means is they're going after me as a traveler. So listen to my thinking process. First of all, I'm going to read an article I came across online. Governor Charlie Baker was praised from Democratic lawmakers for targeting ride-hailing companies as a source for new MBTA funding, but the idea riled the services themselves. There is so much said in that opening sentence, I almost don't have to read the rest of the article. He won praise from Democratic lawmakers. All right, now the first thing I'm wondering about politicians. Is he gaining praise because what he did was a good thing? Or is he gaining praise because all of the politicians of one party are just marching in lockstep unison and not really worrying about what that's doing to the people of their community and the visitors to your cities? When Governor Baker decides to raise rates on rideshare, they're just going after it because it's like shooting fish in a barrel. That doesn't hurt Uber or Lyft. You know who it hurts? It rolls down to me. But let's go on with the story and I'll expand on that. Uber and Lyft slammed Baker's plan to increase the per-trip fee on their platforms from 20 cents to $1. 5 times, a 5-time increase. That's a misfire that will pose an undue strain on their customers and on drivers contracted by the companies. I agree 100%. That is just going to come down on me as a passenger. I'm the one that's going to be paying 5 times more. Uber's not the one suffering for that. But you see, these politicians can make it look like, oh, we're going after the big, mean corporations. And that's not what's happening at all. The moment that goes into effect, if it goes into effect, all they're going to do is raise their rates another buck. That's all it's going to happen. It happened in Chicago. Lori Lightfoot went hog wild, thinking that I am just going to take a wheelbarrow and fill it up with money every day from Uber and Lyft. And all that's happening is when people like me visit Chicago, and we land at the airport at O'Hare or Midway, or we go to Boston's Logan, which, by the way, I will be at in less than 12 hours, I am going to have to pay more. Now, the other weird thing that is always kind of stuck in my craw about this, it just seems so strange. They're doing it to shore up mass transit that people don't want to use. You are so intent on putting good money after bad for programs that people don't want. And it's absolutely amazing. Now, the MBTA, I believe, is a Massachusetts Bay Transit Authority. They don't say that in the article, but I believe that's what they're referring to. Well, tomorrow, when I land at Logan, I'm hailing an Uber because I am going to have to move out of the city. I'm going to be traveling out of the city to one of the suburbs. There's not direct trains and buses, and I don't have the Charlie card. I used to. That's why I know what it is. But I don't have all that stuff. The easy thing for me to do is hop in an Uber. How is that damaging the city? I'll tell you what. I can tell you one thing. And we'll get to this in a minute, the damage that it causes on the infrastructure. But one of those big city buses does a whole lot more wear and tear on roads than a Prius. But let's read on. In his fiscal year 2021 budget legislation unveiled Wednesday, Baker called for quintupling the fee the state imposed on all trips made on transportation network companies, to be known moving forward in this article as TNCs. Now, it says Baker projected the changes will generate another $100 million in revenue for the state, much of which will be directed toward expanding the MBTA's operating budget. Remember that statement. Because in the next sentence he says, I wouldn't call it negligible, but it was a few million. He's talking about the people that used Uber and Lyft 5 years ago. We're now talking about 100 million annual. I don't know where he gets those numbers. There are 100 million people in Massachusetts using that every year? Maybe. You're talking about wear and tear on roads and bridges that need to be supported through other mechanisms. Wait a minute, Chuck. Charlie, you just said that was going to support MBTA. Now you're saying it goes to infrastructure. Get your story straight. I don't think he knows where the money's going to. All he sees is there's money and I want it. I want to dig deep in the pocket of my constituents, people that live in my cities, my communities, my state, but more importantly, people that visit my city. Rather than welcoming them, well, you are welcoming them, but you're welcoming them for the wrong reason. You're welcoming them so you can dig your greedy little politician paw into my pocket and take away more money. So Uber and Lyft say they're unfairly targeting as a way to generate revenue. Well, absolutely, they are. They say data shows that single passenger vehicles operated by individual motorists, not ride for hire vehicles, contribute the most to traffic. Maybe, maybe not. But I will tell you this. I know when an Uber or a Lyft is out driving, they are carrying single passengers many, many times throughout the day, which is different from a person getting in their car, driving to work, and then driving back. They're one person using one car. 10 people get in a car, drive to work. They're 10 people using 10 cars. One Uber can take all 10 of those people. Well, maybe not at the same time, but they're going to be more efficient. So why do you target them? It seems to me it would be make a lot more sense, what a lot of states do, to support their infrastructure through things like gasoline tax. That way, it's a user tax. They call them user fees, but they're taxes. That way, it's a user tax. Uber and Lyft are obviously going to use more gas, and that's the way they're going to pay for their fair share. Right? When you talk about wear and tear, like I said, those buses, they put a lot more wear and tear on the road. They're not being taxed because they're a government entity. So, two companies, Uber and Lyft, expressed support instead for congestion pricing systems where road tolls will vary in an attempt to incentivize, I always have trouble with that word, off-peak travel. Well, I think that my idea of a gas tax makes a whole lot more sense. And then it goes on to say, during a live radio appearance, Uber and Lyft drivers from Boston called in and asked Baker if he had any plans to add safeguards to protect drivers. Ooh, that forgotten group. Price increases, the caller said, just ends up hurting the driver and the passenger, I might add. Baker replied it was a great question. Don't you love it? You gotta love politicians. I'm asking you, if you're in Boston, if you're in Chicago, why do you keep electing these people? Why do you keep putting them in office? If you are an Uber or a Lyft driver, or an Uber or Lyft passenger that uses these services, you are being dismissed and without even giving any thought or consideration. Why are you voting for these people in Chicago and in Boston? Why do you do it? I'm not telling you how to vote. I'm not telling you that, one party's better than another. All I'm saying is when I see stuff like this, who are they really helping? I think it's a power grab just to get more of that filthy lucre. That's the way I see it. And yes, it's going to hurt drivers. Yes, it's going to hurt passengers. It probably isn't going to help the Massachusetts Bay Transport Authority. I hope I'm saying that right. Probably not going to help them because people don't want to use it. You can keep spending money and keep something going, and if people don't want it and they don't want to hop on board, what good is it to keep it alive? The world has to progress. When they stop making buggies, they stop making buggy whips. Aren't you glad that they didn't raise prices on automobiles so for the past 100 years they could keep manufacturing those buggy whips that nobody would buy? Well, that's the way I see it. As always, I encourage you to like and share the videos. Leave your comments down below. If you haven't already, please subscribe and ring that bell icon up above so you know when I post new videos. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm Mark, and this is Mark's Travel Time.